Let's get started with our first news. Francis Ngannou has officially responded to Dana White's allegations. After staying silent for a long time, Francis has now revealed his side of the story, and according to him, what really happened is completely different from the narrative that has been circulating online. He says the real issues began even before the first Stipe fight, when the UFC started dragging out his contract negotiations. Those delays left him inactive for months, meaning no fights and no income. Francis explains that he reached a point where he was financially unstable and couldn't even properly fund his own training camp. That's when he personally called Dana White and asked for an advance on his fight purse, just so he could afford to keep training. According to Francis, that phone call was the only direct confrontation he ever had with Dana. As for the rumored altercation inside Dana's office, Francis says it never happened the way people are claiming. The tension, he explains, came from the slow and frustrating UFC negotiations rather than any dramatic behind-closed-doors incident. Those delays created stress on both sides and slowly damaged the relationship. This paints a very different picture from the stories fans have seen online. Social media reactions are split. Some fans are skeptical of any alleged office confrontation, while others believe something must have happened, pointing to multiple media reports accusing Francis of obnoxious behavior at UFC headquarters. But Francis insists the truth is far more simple. He explains that everything changed after his first fight with Stipe. He says, "There was a lot of frustration over the years since my fight against Stipe. My first fight against Stipe, my relationship with the UFC has never been the same. I think from that moment, I was already put in some position out there. Even before the Stipe fight, when they announced that fight, I needed to call and ask for an advance of my purse to finance my training camp. I had no money, but I was there training and getting ready for almost a year. So I took some advice. I don't care if I walk around and people say, 'Oh, champ,' or 'that's a UFC contender.' Whatever it is, man, I live based on what is in my account. I don't live beyond that." He adds that after his win over Junior Dos Santos in June 2017, the UFC initially approached his team with a new deal. But while his team was already on the way to negotiate, the UFC suddenly said no new deal for Francis. He still has 3 fights left on his contract. Francis admits he was even happy at the time because he wanted to knock that day out. Move on to another news. Arman has officially sent a warning to Dan Hooker and Ilia Topuria ahead of his highly anticipated fight week at UFC Qatar. With the event getting closer, Arman has been making more media appearances, speaking confidently in multiple interviews to build hype for the matchup. During a recent conversation with Shaq MMA, he delivered a direct message to both Dan Hooker and Ilia, making it clear that there are lines that should not be crossed, especially when it comes to personal matters. Arman explained that he doesn't mind promotional talk, competitive banter, or even some trash talk, as long as it stays within the boundaries of respect. He said, "Dan, he never talked personal to me. You know, if I have something in my personal life, yeah, I would take him out of his room and talk to him. Same for Ilia. So it's just business, it's fighting, but there are levels to trash talk. If he touches me or my family or says something with bad words, yeah, about spoiled kids or anything like that, I understand that." Arman emphasized that he is focused on the fight, he is focused on the challenge ahead, and he is focused on handling his career the right way. But if someone crosses the line, then the situation becomes different. As Fight Week continues in Qatar, the tension has been slowly rising. During the face-offs, Arman and his opponent stepped forward for what fans expected to be a routine stare-down, but the energy between them immediately shifted. The two squared up in Qatar Social, maintaining eye contact with intensity as the cameras clicked around them. One of the officials said, "Tell me when you're good. Okay?" Facing forward. Even in those few seconds, the pressure felt real. And fans online have already started debating whether this will be Arman's breakout moment on the world stage. Arman has made it clear that he is ready, he is sharp, and he is fully prepared for whatever comes his way. With fighters like Dan Hooker and Ilia watching closely, and with the spotlight growing brighter each day, Arman's message stands strong. This is Fight Week, this is business, and this is the moment he intends to seize. The warnings have been delivered, the lines have been drawn, and the only thing left is to settle everything inside the cage. Move on to another news. Rampage Jackson and TJ Dillashaw had nothing but praise for Islam Makhachev following his dominant performance at UFC 322. During a recent episode of Rampage's podcast, he admitted he was genuinely shocked by how sharp Islam looked on the feet against JDM. Interestingly, Rampage revealed this was actually the first time he had ever watched Islam fight, which made his reaction even stronger. He said he had always heard people say JDM's boxing was better than Ilya's, so he wasn't expecting Islam's striking to be as clean and effective as it was. Rampage explained that he was extremely impressed with Islam's composure, timing, and decision-making on the feet. Rampage added that he believed Islam could have become an even bigger star if he mixed in more takedowns early. In his words, "I think his fight style, he should have taken him down, right? He should have taken him down a couple times, pieced him up on the ground, then had him worried about the takedown. Then just piece him up with his striking. That would make him such a bigger star." He explained that since JDM was already worried about the wrestling threat, it completely changed his striking approach. And because of that, Islam was able to pick him apart with ease. Rampage said that Islam now has the ability to dominate anywhere the fight goes. If someone starts gaining momentum on the feet, he can simply switch gears and take them right back to the mat. He finished by saying, "This is my first time seeing Islam fight, to be honest. I had not seen him fight before this." On the same show, TJ Dillashaw joined the conversation, and he also gave Islam huge credit for the way he handled JDM. TJ said, "Islam made the fight look so easy, dude, and I did not expect it to look that easy." He explained that anytime there is a grappler versus a striker, he usually picks the grappler, especially when the grappler is this dominant. But even then, he thought JDM would cause more problems. TJ expected JDM to get back to his feet more often and maybe show some real danger in the striking exchanges. Instead, Islam controlled the pacing, the distance, and the overall direction of the fight from start to finish. Both Rampage and TJ walked away from UFC 322 with the same conclusion. Islam is not just dominant, he is becoming undeniable. Move on to another news. Paddy Pimblett has gone off on Justin Gaethje after Justin continued pushing for a title shot and insisting the UFC owes him the opportunity. Paddy made it clear that, in his eyes, nobody in this sport is owed anything, and that Justin acting like he deserves a guaranteed title fight isn't how things work in the UFC. He reminded fans that in his own last fight, he beat a higher-ranked opponent and did it in far more dominant fashion compared to Justin's performance. For context, Justin defeated Rafael Fiziev at UFC 313 by unanimous decision and has been demanding a shot at the belt ever since. He even threatened that he would retire if the UFC refuses to give it to him. Paddy responded directly, saying, "You know, I never want to say a bad word about Justin Gaethje because he's a legend, but he's doing interviews lately, being a proper, you know what I mean? Saying like the UFC owe him and he deserves it and all that. No one's owed nothing. You know what I mean? You fight for it." Paddy emphasized that his last win came against a better opponent, ranked higher, and he finished the fight in a cleaner, more decisive way. So in his view, if anyone has a claim to being next in line, it's him. He continued, saying, "I know he's a legend, and obviously he's done a lot for the company and all that, but he can't just demand a title shot." Paddy then explained that he already has a ready-made storyline with Ilya. He and Ilya have history, and the rivalry is built in. He said, "Me and Ilya's got the storyline built in. It's all there. It's half nice for me that he won the belt, even though I don't like him. I'd rather him not be a two-division champ, but it's better for me that he won the belt." According to Paddy, if Charles had won the title, things would have been very different, and he likely would have been forced to take another fight first. But with Ilya holding the belt, the matchup practically sells itself. The tension, the drama, the rivalry, everything is already in place. Paddy said the storyline is ready to go. And he doesn't understand why the fight hasn't already been announced or why contracts haven't been drawn up. He ended by saying, "We'll see what happens over the next few weeks," clearly hinting that something big may be coming soon. Move on to another news. Arman is not happy at all with Paddy Pimblett's new ranking, and he made it very clear that he doesn't think Paddy deserves to be anywhere near the top of the division. Arman didn't hold back for a single second. In fact, he believes Paddy shouldn't even be ranked, let alone sitting inside the top 10. His frustration came through strongly as he questioned how someone with Paddy's resume could be placed so high while more deserving fighters continue to be overlooked. Arman said, 3-0, 8-0, 2-0. You've got to delete him from the rankings even. He's not even deserving to be in top 10. He pointed out that the fighters Paddy has beaten recently were not in their prime and were coming off multiple losses. He continued, he beat the guy Chandler, he had like 3 losses. It was Bobby Green, he had 3-4 losses. It was Tony Ferguson, he had 8 losses. That's crazy. Arman emphasized that beating fighters who are on losing streaks should not propel anyone into top-tier rankings, and it definitely shouldn't put them anywhere near a title conversation. From Arman's perspective, Paddy's rise has more to do with popularity and promotion than actual competition. He feels the UFC is pushing him too quickly, and that the fans are being misled into thinking Paddy is ready for the elite level. Arman's tone suggested that this situation is not just unfair, but downright disrespectful to fighters who have spent years grinding their way up through much tougher matchups. To him, giving Paddy a top 10 spot devalues the entire division and sends the wrong message about what it truly takes to earn your ranking in the UFC. Arman made it clear he doesn't understand why people are even entertaining the idea of Paddy getting a title shot. He said, and like you want to bring that guy to fight for the title? His disbelief was obvious. For Arman, the math simply does not add up. The wins, the level of competition, the performances, none of it screams top contender, let alone someone worthy of a championship opportunity. Whether fans agree with him or not, Arman's message was loud and direct. Ranking should be earned through real competition, and in his eyes, Paddy hasn't done enough to be anywhere near the top. Move on to another news. Ian Gary had plenty to say during his media day interview, especially when the topic shifted to Islam Makhachev and how he believes that matchup would unfold. Ian didn't shy away from making big claims, confidently stating that he sees obvious holes in Islam's fighting style, particularly in the striking exchanges. Despite praising Makhachev's improvements, he made it clear that he views himself as the type of fighter who can expose those gaps immediately. Ian started by acknowledging Islam's evolution, saying Islam looked far cleaner on the feet against JDM, and that he was genuinely impressed by the calmness, composure, and patience Islam showed. His composure on the feet was elite, Ian said, emphasizing that this version of Makhachev is sharper than ever. But even with those compliments, Ian made it clear that he's not blinded by the hype. He said, however, there are still holes. There are still holes that you can see if you watch that fight and you focus on the striking. There's obvious gaps that I will absolutely take advantage of. He didn't deny Islam's wrestling greatness either. Ian openly admitted, when he grabs a hold of your leg, he's the best in the world. He's technically beautiful with his wrestling. He's smart, he's intelligent, he doesn't make silly mistakes, and he's a dangerous submission threat. But immediately after listing those strengths, Ian shut it down with, however, I don't care for any of that. He said his own style is built perfectly to challenge someone like Makhachev, explaining that he is too smart, too elusive, too long, and too fast. Ian highlighted that he is undefeated against southpaws and believes that alone gives him a unique edge. When we face off, he's got to get to my leg, and he's got to be able to catch me when I'm longer and taller than anyone he's ever faced before, Ian said. He pointed out that he is rangy, unpredictable, and possesses speed that Islam has simply never dealt with. In his words, I'm wickedly fast. He's never seen anyone as fast as me. He can pull in bantamweights, and they're never going to be as fast as me. I'm the fastest in the world. He finished by saying that fighters don't truly understand his speed and timing until they're standing right in front of him. They think they can do something, Ian said, and then their head just starts snapping back. Move on to another news. Arman has made it clear that he is interested in a quick turnaround with Ilya, especially with the momentum he's carrying into his fight week. As he prepares to face Dan Hooker this weekend at UFC Qatar, the energy around him is strong, focused, and razor sharp. Reporters asked him about what comes next, and the moment the question of a January title fight came up, Arman didn't hesitate. He didn't pause, didn't overthink it, didn't try to play the waiting game. Instead, he leaned straight into the moment with confidence and conviction. He said that if all goes well on Saturday and he delivers the kind of performance he knows he's capable of, he absolutely wants to stay active. A quick turnaround isn't something he's shying away from. It's something he's ready for. The idea of waiting, sitting out, or letting the division shuffle itself doesn't interest him. Arman wants movement. He wants momentum, and he wants the big moments that define careers. When the question came again, more directly this time, would he be willing to fight Ilya for the belt in January? Arman responded with absolute clarity. No, I don't want to wait. If I perform very well and UFC says, "Can you fight in January?" I'll take that fight right away. That was his stance, delivered with the tone of a man already visualizing what comes after Saturday night. For Arman, it's simple. Do the job against Hooker, turn around quickly, and chase the belt. No hesitation, no delay, no second guessing. He wants to stay in motion, stay sharp, and seize the opportunity the moment it's presented. This mindset isn't new for him. Arman has always carried a driven, forward-pressing attitude. He's not looking for breaks, he's looking for breakthroughs. He wants to fight the best, fight often, and fight for something bigger than a single win. The possible January showdown with Ilya is exactly the kind of moment that fires him up, and he's letting everyone know he's prepared for that challenge the second UFC gives him the green light. As Fight Week continues and the anticipation builds, his message remains steady and strong. Handle business on Saturday, then step right into the next war. This is the mentality of a contender who believes he's right there, on the edge of something huge, and willing to push forward without wasting a second.